Hello, everyone. You're on John Baxter Live. Got a cool show today. Got a special guest, Darin Kidd, and his new book, and quite a few interesting facts about this guy. He's a family man, entrepreneur, success driven entrepreneur with a long history. So it should be a really good show today. Here we are. Uh, Mid December and just getting it together for 2023. So, this is the guy to ask. He's basically a mentor coach for so many thousands of people. So, we'll get right into it with Darin here shortly. Just a couple announcements. Thank you, PPN. We're on one of the last uncensored networks that are live broadcast in the world. And also, thank you to our sponsor, Anti Aging Bed. And going into that, thank you as well for all our listeners at home checking us out while we deliver you guys some really good interviews, cutting edge information from anything from technology, health, and today a little bit of business as an entrepreneur myself. So I'm so excited, just to cover a few topics today. We had an amazing Mexico event for Anti-Aging Network. We had over 30 people there. Just amazing. If you want to become a part of the Anti-Aging Bed team, go to antiagingbed.com. At the very bottom, sign up for the partner program. It was a free, all expenses paid vacation. It doesn't really get much better than that at a 5-diamond hotel. So this was just awesome. It was the recovery and relaxation I needed. And I got to hang out with a bunch of different amazing people, you name it. We've got major influencers, worldwide podcasters, celebrities, all types of people there. So if that's for you, check it out. And, let's also realize today that, on Anti-Aging Bed, the remainder of the month, all these amazing specials, 10 different deals, 10 different December deals going on for you and your loved one. Give the gift of health during the holiday season, and you'll see the health improvement that we all talk about. And this is a perfect time. So, I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to get Darin Kidd on the show right now. Mr. Darin Kidd, how you doing, sir?
All right, John, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I met Darin at a conference with Dr. Fab, and just amazing people there. Really impressed with Darin, and I'd like to show his new book he's got coming out. But before that, I'd like to just see how you're doing, Darin, and what you've been up to.
Oh man, lots of great things. Doing a little bit of hair modeling on the weekends, and yeah, just kidding. All right, for those that are listening, I'm a little hair challenged, which means I have no hair. I'm completely bald, and it's shining on video. So if you have to put sunglasses on, I'm not offended by that. But John, I appreciate that. And first of all, let me just say this: that I put the I don't know what you call it, but the anti-aging bed, the cover, and my pillowcase on last night. And I can tell you the 2 nights before that, I was having some major issues like sleeping. I slept like never before last night. And so I'm a huge believer in what you're offering. And no, I'm not getting paid to say that, but I did want to mention that before I forget, because it was just last night that I hooked that up. So I love that. So thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. Love that. Love it. Love to hear about the sleep challenge. And, we'll get you on another show and we can cover some of these topics. And so that's great. So it sounds like you got a different night of sleep, possibly.
Yes, I did, and I appreciate it. But yeah, man, no, things are great. I mean, in my mind, 2023 has already started. So many people they just kind of come to a halt right now. But I love to hit the new year already running, hit it from a rolling start, and it's not like you have to do that many things differently. But now, in my mind, is the time to gain market share. It's to get ahead, and it's an exciting time for me to kind of evaluate where I've been, where I want to go, and just start thinking about my goals for the new year.
Yeah, and to cover your background a little bit, I to me, you're a serial entrepreneur, family man, and coach to so many people. And I can't do it justice. So, can you cover a little bit of your background, a little bit more of like how like you got here, and then we'll get right into this amazing book.
Yeah, so it's kind of fascinating. The book and my story, it all kind of meshes with because people look at me now and they're like, oh my gosh, like how did you do those things? But the story behind the story is really the most powerful part. But yeah, over the last 30 years, I've had franchises. I've have e-commerce businesses. I've done online stuff. I was in network marketing for 28 years, and speaking, training, coaching, consulting. So I've done quite a few things, and really felt like all of that led me to where I am right now, where I'm extremely passionate about helping other people.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so I'm going to go ahead and show the book. I Will Until Darin Kidd. This is one of the, it's a bestseller. And, I'm sure at the end of the podcast, we can see where we can get it, but I wanted to show it to you. And, how did you come up with this name?
Yeah,
The Will Until.
yeah, that's a great question. It was about 25 years ago. My wife and I, we have 5 kids from 29 down to 14. Yes, which always
29? I
what's that?
thought you were 29 yourself.
Hey, you know what? Stop some more. Stop some more. It's the mattress. I took off about 20 years last night. But I always warn people and go, hey, listen, you have to be careful, because if you work from home like my wife and I have for the last several decades, you can have a bunch of kids like we do and live in the country. But when the 24-year-old was born, we were actually on government assistance. We were on Medicaid. We were applying for food stamps. My car was repossessed. And it was that day that I walked into my bedroom and I shut the door behind me and made the walk over to the closet. And there was about this 2-foot plastic Coca-Cola piggy bank. And I told my daughter, I go, hey, look, someday we'll go to Disney World. So put your money in this piggy bank. And, someday was all I'd ever heard in my family. My dad passed away on his deathbed. Up until that day, he was saying, someday we'll go do this, someday we'll go do that, and someday never came. And unfortunately, I learned the hard way that someday leads to a town called nowhere. But I also learned that some people's some days are other people's every days. But it was that day that I was dragging that piggy bank out of the closet, put the change on the floor, and I'm just picking through it, just trying to get enough to go eat. And I'm sitting here, and my daughter walks in, opens the door, sees me taking the money for Disney, runs out, slams it. She's crying. And I remember on my knees going, God, how could I get this low to where I'm bankrupt? My car's repossessed. I'm a college dropout. My wife's a college dropout. We live in a small town. Everybody in town knows I'm a failure. There's sheets on my windows that were tacked on. We couldn't afford curtains. And here I am taking my child's money for Disney. I'd already been to the doctor for depression. And I'm like, what hope do I have? But that was the day that it hurt bad enough. And so I after wiping the tears, I got up off my knees. I walked into the other room and I go, my family deserves a better life than this. And whatever it takes, I will until. And I put that on the wall. I will until. And then that was the pivoting point that started me on the journey over the last 20 years, multiple 6 figures investing in education, thousands of books and audios and trainings and seminars and mentors and VIP days that completely changed our life. But it was that moment. I tell people, you can't change your life overnight, but you can definitely change the direction of your life overnight.
Yeah, that's important. The trajectory. Where do we go? Where do we start? We've all had our major ups and downs, and whether you're, I guess, everyone's got to go through it, right? You can't go around it. It appears you have to go through it. Could you, with your background and where you came, could you name some of the the common obstacles, challenges, that people face in business, and possibly the best way to take a look at these obstacles and challenges.
Yes, I mean, here's the thing. At that time, if you would have told me, hey, Darin, you know what? This is one of the best things that ever happened to you. It's pretty awesome that you can't feed your kids and you can't support your wife and you can't keep a job. And I would have not taken it very well. But now when later on, I learned that, life, Rick Warren, who wrote The Purpose Driven Life, he goes, look, either you're in a storm, going out of a storm, or getting ready to go back into a storm. And later on, I realized that, look, it's not the easy times that make us grow. Obstacles and challenges are actually your best friend because obstacles lead to elevation. Okay. If we take responsibility, if we do the right things when we're going through those challenging times. So there was a point in my life I was a victim. It was where I lived. It was my background. It was my family. It was my lack of resources. It was, well, when we're victims, then we don't control anything. But finally, I had a friend go, hey, Darin, at the scene of every accident, there's one common person, and that's you. Les Brown talks about, look, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be where you are today. So where I was that day was because of decisions that I had made, good or bad. And when I started taking responsibility and going, okay, I'm not going to just go through this. I'm going to grow through this. And it was like the farmer that was in his rocking chair on the porch, and a neighbor's walking by, and he goes, hey, mister, I can see your dog right there laying under the porch, and he's laying on a nail. And the old farmer goes, don't worry about it. When it hurts bad enough, he'll get up and move. So at that point, I had to go, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. My family, I want a better life for my family. But also knowing, hey, listen, the same version of me that got me to where I am is not the same version that gets me to the next level. So that desire, to change my life, it hurting bad enough. And then later on realizing, if you ask yourself the right questions, what can I learn from this? How can I not just go through this and grow through this? Learning it's not the easy times that make us grow. They can be a stumbling block or they can be a building block. Learning that obstacles lead to elevation. All of those things, the mindset, when you shift your mind, because anything that we ever achieve, we ever win, we achieve and win in our head first. It all starts right between our ears. So that was the pivotal point that set me on the journey to going, hey, look, what does it take to go to the next level? And that was a big, big, big change in my life going through that process.
Well, that was an interesting statement there. When it gets painful enough, the dog will get up and move. But until then, it's just not painful enough. And that's the catalyst. That type of catalyst, if the mindset and a lot of other things aren't clicking, the victimhood mentality, I'm sure could just keep someone just laying on that rusty nail, right? And we've all been through it, right? But how does someone get motivated to get off that nail? How does one stay motivated in that sense, in life and business?
Another great question. And I will tell you this, sometimes the pain leads you to your purpose. There were points in my life, and I know somebody listening to this, you may be thinking the same thing, man, am I being punished? And later on you look back going, man, it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Like I came out the side a different version than who I am right now. And what we're getting ready to go through right now, John, the next 12 to 24 months, I'm in some groups with, mastermind groups and stuff like that. People worth, 500 million, 700 million, companies valued at $1 billion plus. I know you're in some of those circles as well. And they're all going, listen, the next 12 to 24 months are going to be the most challenging times we've ever experienced in our life. However, if I listen to a certain group of people, they go, man, the sky's falling, we're all in such big trouble, but if you listen to the wealthy people, they know we're going to go through challenges. They know that we need to do what we can to make a positive difference and an impact and stand up for our rights and all of that stuff, right? But they think this, hey, listen, there's never been a time in history where people are going to need more than they will the next 12 to 24 months. more problems being solved, more value that I can add, more people that I can help and impact, more people that are searching and struggling. And if you look at the most successful businesses and entrepreneurs, a lot of them started during recessions, depressions, during wars. And wealthy people understand the biggest transfer of wealth happens during a recession, during a depression, during wars. If you can find problems, solve the problems, add value, make an impact, with other people. So whether you are an entrepreneur or you're like, I work with entrepreneurs and companies and stuff like that, then now's the time to innovate. Now's the time to grow and really work hard on ourselves and ask the right questions. Now, you ask me, how do you stay motivated during the challenging times? Was that the question?
Yeah.
Here's how you stay motivated during challenging times. You get clarity. Because for all of you that are listening or watching, have you ever had times in your life where you say, man, I just feel unmotivated. I feel burned out. I'm lacking motivation. Well, a billionaire that owned 40 companies in 60 countries taught me this. It's not lack of motivation, or if it is, it's from a lack of clarity. Clarity gives you focus, and focus gives you energy. It all comes back to clarity. So why are you doing what you're doing? It's not the money. You have to put an emotional attachment to the money. So if you're an employer, you want to think like this. Your employees, they want to be a part of something bigger than just a job. How do I attract good employees? You got to have a culture and a mission and a vision that makes it bigger than who they are and help fit into why they're doing what they're doing. So anything that we ever achieve and we win, we achieve in our head first. So the clearer the picture of your goals in your head, the more goal directed your actions are on a daily basis. It all starts between our ears. The late Bob Proctor, the great Bob Proctor said, look, if you can see it in your head, you can hold it in your hands. So when you have clarity and vision and you put an emotional attachment to the money, that's what helps you stay strong enough, long enough as you go through the daily emotional roller coaster of life and business and health and everything. So for me, I still felt like quitting, right? Even when I had made a lot of, millions of dollars and built organizations that did hundreds of millions in revenue, I still felt like quitting. It was less than I felt like quitting before. It's okay to feel like quitting as long as you don't quit, right? But what helped me stay strong enough, long enough, was continuing to have my goals and my reasons in front of me. Reasons reap results. Motivation, a motive for your actions. So I know it's hard to see around my office, and some of you are listening on an audio platform, but I've got a success environment set up around me because I don't feel like doing it the majority of the time like all of you. But what does feeling like it have to do with living up to my God-given potential, fighting for my family's future? It has nothing to do with it. Feelings have nothing to do with it. So around me, I've got a 65-inch TV always playing YouTube. Whether it's places we want to travel, whether it's dream homes, whatever it may be. I've got pictures of my family. I've got a water bottle that's sitting over on my desk I was using for a training earlier. We were in Hawaii, and this is a beautiful water bottle, and I drank the water. My wife's like, what are you doing? I filled it up with sand from the beach at Turtle Bay in North Shore, Oahu, because I brought the beach back with me because it motivates me going, look, I want to create memories. I have a friend of mine, he says, look, die with memories, not with dreams. So I've got all of my affirmations. I've got screensavers. So spend some time getting crystal clear on what is it that you really want? Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And when that billionaire that had 40 companies in 60 countries, that was paying for 1,000 kids a year to go to college, that had given away hundreds of millions to charity, when he said, Darin, I want you to do a dream board. And I'm like, man, I'm thinking to myself, am I a child? I know my last name is Kid, but does that mean I'm going to go do a dream board, a vision board? But he understood that your brain didn't know the difference in reality and what you tell it. So when you visualize an experience, your brain, your body produce the same chemicals and endorphins as if the experience actually happened. So you can experience an experience before you ever experience it. Now, why is that important? Because we move in the direction of our expectations. What you think about, you truly do bring about. Thoughts are things. So when you start to visualize and dream and set your goals and be intentional and proactive. And then we move in the direction of those expectations. We move in the direction of things that we're familiar with. And the reticular activating system, I don't want to go too deep, but your brain, we have to tell it what we want, and our brain wants to be right. So if you've never known so many cars on the road like the one you're driving until you bought it, they were there before. But it's the awareness. And so when you set your goals and your dreams, it allows things in that reticular activating system to serve those goals and dreams and blocks things out that do not. So be very careful what you think about, be very careful what you speak about. And then what you do is you're setting those goals and getting very clear. Clarity gives you focus, and focus gives you energy. Getting very clear on what you want and why you want it, because it's not a matter of if you're going to want to quit. You could be so excited today about what you're doing that you're like a chihuahua jacked up on Red Bull, right? Like you can't sleep. But then the very next day, you're in the self-doubt. Like you just want to go snuggle up on the couch, in a snuggle and eat some bonbons and like don't even talk to anybody. It's an emotional roller coaster. But those things, in a nutshell, okay, help me stay strong enough long enough to continue to battle day after day, going, you know what, if I'm ever going to reach toward that full potential, because I believe that we're created in the image of our creator for success, and the world tries to program us for failure, then I got to be very intentional and create the future that I want to have in my head, because it all starts in your head.
Oh, I love that. Well said. Yeah, definitely all in your head. Speaking this into existence. Your future. I believe it's real, and it is real. I mean, what else? What other way can you do it? Maybe, but just by chance. I mean, leaving it up to chance or someone else appears not to be the right decision. But it sounds like you got a lot of just success stories and how you got here. I don't know if you could rattle off some of the keys to success in business and life, Darin.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll give you just a few. And what you just said also sparks something else. It's not what goes on around us as important as what goes on within us. Like we have to control what we can control the controllables, and focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Focus on where you're going, not where you've been. You probably heard, hey, listen, there's a reason the rear view mirror is a lot smaller than the windshield of your car. And so what you focus on, you really do attract. What you think about, speak about, you bring about. What you focus on, you attract. Or the billionaire would say, hey, Darin, you magnetize the conditions that you seek. So I know like there's a lot of people that are listening in. I just saw it popped up on my social media right before I jumped on here. A 40-year-old that was famous just committed suicide. And I'm like, dang it, man. It made me sad because, we had a teenager here not too long ago. I'm starting to go, hey, look, I'm volunteering at school systems. Let me talk to the teenagers. Because, John, people look at me now, and what they see, a lot of people, they think maybe they can't relate. Man, how is he in magazines and books and speaking on stage in front of 25,000 people and having dinner with John Maxwell and being interviewed by Grant Cardone? What they didn't see was the depressed teenager that was angry and insecure and being bullied. And I grew up with OCD, obsessive compulsive, and I didn't know how to handle my thoughts. And so I was so angry. I was fighting all the time. And so I didn't know how to think. I didn't understand these principles of what it takes to change your life, and then what it takes to change your business. And then what happens, John, is these things affect every single aspect of your life. So when it comes to success in any area of your life, and John, you and I both know there's a lot of wealthy people like the one that just committed suicide that was on TV and everything else. They're not happy. They're not fulfilled. So for me, it's not sacrificing my health, the first part of my life, to gain wealth. And then most people, the mega millionaires and billionaires, a lot of them that I've met, they're spending the second part of their life trying to spend their wealth to get back their health. So that's your mission. You have the anti-aging, right? Things that improve people's health. So it's clarity on every aspect of your life. I'll be married 30 years, right? I've got a phenomenal marriage. I've got 5 kids. I work out with my boys. I get pedicures with my girls, right? I've got I'm blessed with an awesome family. I'll be 50 years old. I feel better than I did in my 20s, right? I really do. I feel better than I did. I probably act like I'm a teenager most of the time too. My wife will tell you too, right? Like my last name fits, Kid, but it's about getting clarity. It's about, creating habits and rituals that serve you. So no matter how you feel, you have these habits and rituals in your life. At first you create them, then they create you. It's about being coachable. The same thinking and behaviors that got us to where we are, not the same thoughts and behaviors that get us to the next level. And big egos equal small pockets in business. So it's about going to the people that have what we want and finding out here's a secret to success, John. I'll give you a secret to catapult your life many years ahead faster than you ever thought possible. If we buy people's opinion, we buy their lifestyle. So I'll guarantee you, anybody that sees this interview and you can see my shiny bald head, you're not going to call me afterwards and say, Darin, can you give me your top hair care tips? You're not going to do that. It's silly. But yet we go to people that do have the same problems that we have and ask advice. And when I stopped asking advice from the people that had the same problems that I did, started listening to people that had the life and the solutions and the business that I wanted to have, everything changed. So be careful who you get advice from. But for example, when I wanted to learn YouTube, I hired one of the top 20 YouTubers in Forbes, blew up my YouTube. Okay. Now that I'm in a different career path, over the last several years, we took down a bunch of videos. I'm redoing it, but I just paid him thousands of dollars, a lot of money for 4 hours virtually. Why would I do that? I could either spend the next decade, thousands of hours of making mistakes, tons of money and energy to finally try to learn a fraction of what took him a decade to learn, or I can pay him and learn from his experiences. So whatever you're looking to do in your life, I have accountability and mentors in every area: spiritual, physical, financial. Be coachable, seek out those people, learn from those people, be willing to put in the work and be willing to put in the work. Freedom isn't free. Okay. You got to pay the price. So if you're willing to put in the work and you've got clarity and you're taking advice from the right people, you're associating with the right people, because our associations work harder on us than we work on them. Like an elevator, they lift us up or they bring us down. And so I'm very intentional about who I associate with. I'm very intentional who I hire to help me elevate every aspect of my life. I'm very coachable and I'm willing to put in the work.
Yeah, that's the people that want to get ahead. I mean, that seems like a very good recipe for success that you got brewing over there, Darin. And with here we are in the month of December, and lots of things going on. Lots of people spending time with friends and family, taking a break, but also contemplating, 2023. So so many times people had set goals and New Year's resolutions, which would probably destroy that name. But what would be some of the things if 2022 wasn't the year for you at home or myself? What could someone do to make some impactful change in their life for 2023?
Yeah, and I'll try to say some things a little bit differently. What I would encourage each and every one of you to do is take some time and disassociate from all of the busyness in your life, whether it's a few hours or maybe a day or two, and ask yourself, what do you really want? If you're going to create the perfect day in your life, the perfect week in your life, like what would that look like? I mean, create it. Begin with the end in mind. When it comes to clarity, and clarity gives you focus gives you energy, and the clearer the picture of your future, the more goal-directed your actions are on a daily basis. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than they do planning their life. So what is it that you really want? I don't know if you've ever heard of 7 levels deep, but if I go, hey, John, why are you doing what you're doing? You could say something like, well, I want to be able to make a lot of money. Why? Well, I want to be able to pay off debt. Why? And when you go 7 levels deep, about 3 or 4 levels down, it goes from your head to your heart. So get clarity, and it's the wheel of life. If you drew a wheel and you put family, spiritual, physical, financial, social, you put the different areas of your life. You don't want to have a flat spot in your wheel. So really think through, what is it that you really want? To get something different, you got to do something different. You got to think different and do something different. And if we don't like the way the last 12 months of our life have gone, what will we do to change the next 12 months? To get something different, we have to do something different and think different. And it all starts in our thinking. So if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So for example, John, if I go, hey, listen, how do I get to your home office? Right? First of all, I need to know the destination. I'm going to your home office. Second, you're going to go, well, Darin, it depends on where you're starting from. Like, evaluate where you are in your life right now, and then go through the goal setting process. And once you set your goals, and again, I've been blessed to hire and have very good mentors over the last 30 years. And I've made a ton of mistakes over the last 3 decades. But one of the things that billionaire with 40 companies told me, go, Darin, I've never set a goal that I didn't achieve. And I didn't speak it, but I remember thinking that can't be true. But then I go, how is that possible? He said, because I've never set a goal that I couldn't achieve. I'm like, what do you mean? He set goals. I'll just give you one goal setting tip. He goes, your minimum realistic and dream goal. So for any of you out there, whether it's real estate or sales, let me just give you an example. Let's say that you go, hey, look, next month, I'm going to get 2 customers. Minimum. Don't write it down unless you're going to achieve that goal, or you do not write it down. He goes, you don't learn to win by losing, you learn to win by winning. So minimum 2. Realistic, I think I can get 5, but my dream goal would be 10. Then you base your activity off of the dream goal. If I get 1 out of 10, then I need to reach out to 100 people in the month of January. That's about 25 a week. That's about 5 a day. And we just broke it down into bite-sized pieces. And then what happens, you're like, okay, that's actually doable. And even though I only get 1 out of 10, what's going to happen as you do more exposures and you do more follow-ups? You're getting better. So when you have clarity, you're setting your goals, and then you ask yourself, what are the high payoff activities? What are the things that are going to lead me to the goals? Then you know the right things to do. You focus on the activities. Then you choose accountability if you really want to go to that next level. Like, find people in your life that are mentors and coaches, and then choose to be accountable. A friend of mine, he's a best-selling author. He goes, look, apathy is a natural human instinct common to us all to seek a comfort zone where nothing ever changes. Comfort zones are created for safety, but they look as sameness as security. So anything you ever wanted to achieve, your success is outside of your comfort zone. And the only way you will ever get to that is you choose accountability. I love to work out. May not look like it, but I love to work out. Okay. Why do I have a trainer in the gym? Because they hold me accountable. They can see things that I don't see. A blind spot's called a blind spot for a reason. It's blind to us. Les Brown, he said, it's hard to read the label when you're in the box. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So when you choose accountability, but be intentional, be proactive. I'm using this time right now, John, is the time to gain market share. I'm using this time, for me, 2023 has already started. Like, I'm not wasting time. And let me tell you, if there are any company owners, CEOs, entrepreneurs listening in right now, the next year or 2 years, it's time you go after like you've never been after before. They're saying 30% of real estate agents are going to be gone just like that. My daughter-in-law works for a company. They went from 150 employees. They just laid off 120. So from me, years ago, I learned this lesson the hard way. I go, look, the best investment you can ever make is investing in you, because you take you with you everywhere you go. And the companies that innovate, there was a time that Netflix went into Blockbuster and offered to sell for $50 million. And Blockbuster laughed at Netflix and ran them out the door. But years later, Blockbuster's $1 billion in debt and bankrupt, and Netflix dominates. So now's the time to innovate. I'm in in a mastermind with a guy that owns a company that's $1 billion company. It's a nutrition company. And he's like, listen, we're sending out handwritten letters. Our customer service, we go, you spend every minute you need to spend with them. Don't rush to get off the phone with them. They're telling us all the things that they're doing. He goes, we're being judged by the Chick-fil-A experience, whether you like it or not. And he's like, your competition, if you're my competition and your people do business with me one time, they're never coming back to you because we go the extra mile. So now's the time to innovate. Now's the time to grow. Now's the time to think outside the box. Get people in your circle that think differently. We can be enslaved sometimes by the people around us and not even know it. So when you have that outside perspective and you're doing these things, the next 12 to 24 months in my mind are the time we accelerate. We gain market share. We break through that next level. And for me, 2023 has already started.
Love it. Love it. So much powerful, impactful information condensed right there. The body, I study the body with the health and technology, and oftentimes we find patterns of behavior and actions within the body locked up, stored trauma, you name it, old damage. It's so important, right? Reversing it, right? On the flip side, when I injured myself with my pain to purpose, it was a habit that kept me from saying that I could even heal my own self, right, with technology. And so that one is very near and dear to my heart. And, you were talking a touch point about 10 or 15 minutes ago about habits and patterns. And, I don't know if you can cover that and how you coach and, show someone how to break these rituals and patterns that are habit forming, that are negative to us.
Yeah. And I'll give you just an example of some things. And I don't want people, I know I'm hitting you with a fire hose of information. And you may go, Darin, you're wide open, my man. But these things have progressed over time. So like, for example, when I get up in the morning, the studies show that the first 3 minutes of your day determine whether at the end of the day, you will say you had a great day or a terrible day. If you put negativity into your life in the first 3 minutes, there's a 27% increased chance that at the end of the day, you will go, it was a terrible day. However, when I get up, I have my own habits and rituals, drink 20 ounces of water. And for me, that's the spiritual time. I put on, a message from one of my favorite pastors while I'm getting ready, taking a shower, fixing my hair, all that stuff. And then what I do is I get in my car and then I put on my devotion app on audio and I drive 10 minutes the other way to the coffee shop to get that in. And so what happens, then I have this uplifting playlist where I'll jam with some music back to my office. And so my first hour and a half of my day is all positivity. Like I'm displacing any negative. I'm not looking at social media and engaging in negativity. I'm not being reactive. I'm being proactive. My phone is on do not disturb. Then when I get to my office, I'm at a stand-up desk, right? And no, this may not work for everybody, but I know when you sit down, you cut off half your energy. So I have a stand-up desk. It works for me. And I use the Pomodoro method because I tell people and I joke and laugh and, I got ADD, ADHD, ADT, got them all. I have a hard time focusing. Now, I don't even like speaking that, but I have a focusing challenge, but I'm getting better every day. I like to be careful what I say. But what I do is I use the Pomodoro method. After 10 minutes, they say your attention span starts to decrease. So the Pomodoro method was a student from Italy, used the tomato timer, and after 25 minutes, he'd take a 5-minute break. So this free app that I use at 25 minutes, it dings. And then what it makes me do, because I laser focus on one activity. And then what I do is I'll do like 20 push-ups. I'll do 10 air squats. I'll do some calf raises. I'll drink water. I'll do some stretching. It's crazy what you can do in 5 minutes. It dings again. So in 2 hours, instead of my attention span starting to decrease at 10 minutes and continually going down, it's peaked 4 times. And then in 2 hours, guess what? I've done 80 push-ups. I've done all these air squats. I've done calf raise. I'm changing my state. I'm getting my body moving. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. And so all of these things, I plan my day before it starts. I only let myself put 3 to 5 to-dos. The rest of them go on future to-dos. It forces me to prioritize. It forces me to evaluate the time cost of what I do. So when you have all these things that you do throughout your day and you create those habits and you habit stack, it's not how much you do, it's the effectiveness of what you do. So that I'm always looking to optimize my time, optimize my health, right? That's why when I saw the cover that at the event that you spoke out with Dr. Fab, I'm like, that's a no-brainer. I can sleep and work on my health. That's a pretty good win-win for me, right? And the cost of not having it was more than having it. So I'm like, sold. I want it. So when I start asking questions, evaluating where people are or their company or their organization, then we start setting some plans and goals. And then we figure out, okay, what are the things we need to do during those times? Let's set some ways to hold you accountable or measure the performance. And when you do all these little things, and I know it sounds overwhelming when you're getting hit with a fire hose of information, but what happens, it's little 1% things. And they seem to make no difference at all today. But in the act of doing them. So for example, John, I don't smoke, but I could pull out a pack of cigarettes right now and smoke a whole pack. I would feel really bad, but it's not probably going to kill me one pack today. But if I smoked multiple packs a day for many years, guess what? There are going to be some pretty bad consequences. If I go into the gym today and I work out really hard and then come home and go, where's my 6-pack? We know that's not the way it works, right? It's repping the muscles thousands of times. So I've learned to focus on the right activities, knowing that they will lead me to the results, having ways to measure those, having accountability in place, and then focusing on the activities, not the results. Because a lot of times the results will discourage you in the process. So I know that's a few different things, but those are a few little habits and rituals in my personal life. And I've 10x my productivity with just that and some other things in the last 12 months. Because I'm like, I do not want to work 24/7. You know, if you study Steve Jobs and some of the most successful people in companies, they learned to say no 99 out of 100 times. They said no to 1,000 things. They didn't accept everything. And when they did something, they made it count. And so I've learned to work on optimizing and making my time and making those activities count.
Yeah, that's important. And, if you can realign and, have a trajectory like you're laying out for us here, it makes all the difference. Right. And, I've had this unbalanced work-life balance for a long time, and it starts affecting everything. And whether it be, more work, if anything, usually more family time doesn't drive any negatives, right? But but a lot of times it's like you're saying, you don't want to just slave yourself to death and then just have no health left, and then maybe have some money, but you'll use that money to heal yourself, right? So I think a lot of us, no matter where we're at, we're looking for the life and business balance per se. Could you give us some tips, pointers, tools, and techniques on how to better balance our lives?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, there was a point in my life where when I was working, I felt guilty I wasn't with my family. Then when I was with my family, I felt guilty I wasn't working. And that was when I had no franchises. I had a smaller business. But then fast forward, when I learned it's not how much you do, it's the effectiveness of what you do. And I learned how to develop leaders. And I learned how to have checks and balances in place. I went from fewer kids in the beginning to 5 kids, multiple franchises. At the same time, I had a sales organization of a couple 100,000 people all over the world. I was traveling all over the world, a million things going on, but I was happy. I was healthy. When I was with my family, I wasn't worried about work. I didn't care who called me, and vice versa. So I believe you can have it all, if you set goals, you prioritize, you choose accountability, and you have the right people in your life. And the right people in your life, again, I look for people in every aspect of my life: spiritual, physical, financial. And when you do those things, it makes a big difference, right? So I know, and I look at it as a wheel of life. And by the way, John, let me tell you that story real quick. So what happened was Paul J. Meyer was a mentor of mine, and Paul J. Meyer, pretty much most everyone that's here, you've heard of John Maxwell, the number one leadership guru in the world. And John Maxwell, if you go back now and look in some of his books, listen to him, he goes, look, the day that changed my life was the day that someone asked me, what was my personal plan for growth? And he goes, I didn't have one. And so they presented him the opportunity to buy one of Paul Meyer's goal setting programs, or one of his programs. And he goes, I don't have the money. So he sacrificed meals and vacations for months to be able to buy Paul Meyer's program that changed his life. So when I was having dinner with John 2 or 3 years ago, and I go, hey, a mentor of mine, man, he had so many great things to say about you. And when I told him Paul Meyer, he stopped the whole table. He's like, oh my gosh, let me just tell you this. I still have the program. He goes, I just took it on stage with me not that long ago. So Paul Meyer at 19, they were immigrants. He had a speech impediment. He was applying for sales jobs with a speech impediment. And he had been fired by almost 20 jobs by the time he was 19 years old. And they're like, hey, you may want to think about a different career because you can't speak properly and you're trying to sell. By 26, one of the highest paid insurance agents in the world. And he was selling a life insurance policy to a guy, and it was a manager of a city in Florida. Got very influential, but his life was a wreck. So at the end, and he had a friend with him, he was duplicating leadership, letting him watch what he was doing so he could replicate himself. And at the end, he sold him a life insurance policy, but then he showed him how to set goals in the wheel of life: spiritual, physical, social, financial. And when he left, the pastor friend that was with him said, look, you're in the wrong business. You sold him a life insurance policy, but then you changed his life. He went on to start SMI, Success Motivation Institute, 40 companies, 60 countries, billions of dollars. And that was the mentor of mine. But he would say, look, you can't have it all. Because I remember going, how can one human being have 40 companies in 60 countries, but yet he's breaking world records in fitness, yet he's given hundreds of millions to charity. He's paying for 1,000 kids a year to go to college. The principles that I'm sharing with you, a lot of those things I learned from him over almost a decade of going to Texas and spending time with him and going through his stuff and being mentored. And I've got letters right here that he wrote me back in 2006. I've been reviewing this week. So you can have it all, but you have to be intentional about every area of your life. Nothing happens. Most people are reactive. We plan our vacation more than we plan our life. We're more intentional about vacation than we are our health. And like my kids, I'm like, look, you wouldn't go out and put bad gas into a brand new $30,000 car. They're like, no. Well, can you replace the car? Yes. Well, can you replace your body? No. So your body's irreplaceable, but yet we treat it like we can replace it. So it's being intentional and thinking the right things and doing the right things in every aspect of our life.
Beautiful. And I know on two different coins, right? We run into success, and there it comes with some issues, and we a lot of us are trying to get everything kickstarted in our life, rolling toward the right direction for whatever their purpose is, right? And for people, and I was looking at the book, and I was thinking on the opposite of I will, right? I will until, I heard it when I was growing up, I'll wait until, right? I will do this when, just like you're saying. And, we oftentimes, we hear it. It's challenging times. Things cost too much. Gas prices, this. What do you do for all that chatter to get, as someone who wants to get out of this, what do we do to get out of these challenging times for some of us?
Well, I recommend, number one, investing in you, your personal development. What are you, the same version that got you to where you are, the same version that got me to where I am is not the same version that goes to the next level. I've spent 6 figures plus this year, probably multiple 6 figures in my education this year, knowing the same version of me that got me to where I am is not the same version that gets me to the next level. To get something different, I have to think different. I have to act different. And so what are you reading? What are you listening to? And let's simplify it. People go, Darin, what's your superpower? Probably my superpower is I like to simplify things. So many people talk in these crazy fancy words. I'm like, man, are they just trying to make themselves sound smart? Like, I'm like, why would you not say it like this? I would have gotten it a lot sooner. So from me, it's, look, this is the most powerful computer ever created, is right between our ears. And you can't expect a positive life, with negative flowing into your head nonstop. So I'm very careful to consume content on a daily basis that helps me grow. And I don't like to waste time. Like, I evaluate the time cost to everything that I do. So for example, at night, I do the same thing. So a lot of times I've worked out, I'm taking a second shower. I'm consuming things at night, knowing that I'm going to marinate for the next 6 to 8 hours on what I listened to and read and thought about before I went to bed. So if I can start my day the right way, end it the right way, I can handle the middle a lot better. So what are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you listening to? And you have to displace it. So for example, if I had a dirty glass of water and I put this under the faucet and there's fresh, pure, clean water, it's going to eventually displace all the dirty water. You can't say, don't think of a pink elephant. You think of a pink elephant. So I'm fueling my mind with positivity on a daily basis, knowing I'm either growing or declining. Maintaining is a myth. We're either green and growing or ripe and rotten. We're either climbing or sliding. So what are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you associating with? You show me your closest circle, I will show you your future. You become who you hang around, period. Here's a question you want to ask yourself. What are my associations doing to me, or what are they doing for me? Sometimes it's not what we know, it's who we know. Who do you need in your life to elevate to that next level? Because you catch what you're close to. And I've had to tell some people in my life, be positive or be quiet. Get rid of your stinking thinking. Take a checkup from your neck up. And there's some people I have to limit my time with. There's some people I had to disassociate with. Sometimes it's like the rocket taking off. It's got those boosters. They're on for a short period of time, but then eventually they have to drop off for that rocket to continue to go higher. So some people in our life for a reason and some for a season. So I love them, but I bless and release them. Be very careful who I associate with. I'm very careful who's in my space. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably got big dreams, big goals, a big vision. Well, I think it was Steve Harvey that said, if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. It's one negative. First of all, when you think a negative thought, it's 4 to 7 times more powerful than a positive. When you verbalize it, it multiplies it by 10. And then when you have people, so you have to think about what you're thinking about. If you think something stupid, definitely don't say it if you can help it. And you start to be aware of this and you catch yourself a little bit quicker. But then you got to be careful who is speaking into your life. I don't share my goals and my dreams with everybody because I know if you're on or about the same level as a lot of the people that you associate with, they're okay with that. As soon as you start putting your head above the crowd, it makes them uncomfortable. And it's easier to tear your building down than build their building bigger because they're not willing to go out. You make them uncomfortable. You push them away and they want to justify why they're not willing to do what you do. So think about what you think about. Be careful what you speak about. Evaluate what you're listening to, what you're reading. Evaluate who you're listening to, who's in your circle, and then ask, what are the skills I need to learn as I go into 2023? Who do I need in my life in 2023? Who do I need to spend less time with in 2023? But it's time you draw anything you ever create, design, anytime you ever succeed, it's in your head first. It is time to take and elevate. I think 2023 is the year of elevation. I think it's the year of the breakthrough for elevation. It's the year to accelerate for a lot of you that are listening, and I don't care if it's one person that hears this message, that you know deep down inside, you were created for more. Like many of you, that was me. That's still me going, listen, I'm not operating at the highest level. Like there's an upgrade, there's a software update that needs to happen. So I know that's a long answer, but there's a lot in there that can.
We have, on this live broadcast, we've got 5 minutes left here. And as an entrepreneur myself, I've gained so much valuable information just to try to keep myself better in check on today's, call here. But I realized that I want to get some more information, and I saw that you help entrepreneurs with productivity, profits, and performance. We got some time here. I don't know if you can cover some of the more important items there, because I really want to hear it.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of, most entrepreneurs that I know, I wanted to be the person that I wish I would have had 28 years ago. Because when I was bankrupt, I didn't have someone in my life like me. And it took me 30 years of thousands of books and programs and courses and mentors and VIP days and massive amounts of mistakes and multiple six figures invested to learn the things that I've now learned. And I love helping people. I love helping people go to that next level and break through. And so, yeah, with entrepreneurs, I like helping them increase their performance, their productivity, and their profits, helping them think outside the box and doing the things that we talked about on, today's program. And so, John, if anybody wants to reach out, I would love to have a conversation, and it may or may not be a fit, and I understand that, but I love having conversations with people, finding out more about what they do. And then it allows me to, know what a good prospect looks like for you. And if I'm not the person that can bring value to what you do and who you're looking for, then at least I may be able to connect someone with that person. But yeah, I love helping people, and definitely appreciate you and all that you're doing.
Thank you, Darin. And entrepreneurship seems like a lost art. It very much is, and there's schools of entrepreneurship. But if you can find someone that has been there, done that in real life, that's going to be some of your best coaches, mentors, and teachers that you'll ever find. What I realized a while ago, just studying up on this, and just love what you're doing. We're gonna have to get you on again, Darin. I was gonna say, you had mentioned to reach out to you. Throw us out all your contact information, and let's talk about this. We got 3 minutes left.
Yeah. So if you go to, actually, there's a free resource that I have available for any of you that want it. If you want to start working on those goals and those dreams, and there's like a planner, but it's all free. It's IWillUntil/planner. So IWillUntil/planner, PLANNER. And then also on that website, IWillUntil.com, you can reach out to me. It's DarinKidd@IWillUntil.com, but you can reach out to me, ask me any questions. We can schedule a call. If you have an organization that's looking for a speaker. So, John, I just got listed with Success, which is, Success Magazine and all of that. I just got listed on their speaking bureau. But if you go through me, my schedule is going to book fast. I'm also being listed this week on Grant Cardone and Pete Vargas, their 10X stages. And so just really looking to impact millions of people in 2023. Because I believe once people hear my story, they go, man, if he can do it, small town, he was bankrupt, he was depressed, he couldn't make it through, he didn't make it through college. Now, I will tell you this. I met a lady the other night, my wife and I were walking my daughter's choir concert, and she works at a school system, and she mentioned college. I'm like, yeah, I'm a college dropout. She's like, I'm so sorry. And she was looking down on me. And I go, make no mistake about it. I go, just because I don't have a college education does not mean I'm not educated. I have thousands of hours of education, right? She's like, oh, yeah, you're right. But people, when they hear my story, they go, man, you know what? If you can do it, I can do it. And it's true. And so I love helping people give them a shortcut to success and accelerate, to the next level.
Well, thank you so much. This is just super here. This is John Baxter Live. I got Darin Kidd as our special guest here. This will be uploaded to a couple of our social media platforms. You name it, you know where we're at, mainly on the Uncensored Networks. But yeah, this has been a great chat with you, Darin. One of the last things is I'm going to morning. So here soon, you'll see me Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Right now, I got a couple days through the week. So come check us out. You can also find us on thepatriotpartynews.com. Until next time, guys, thank you so much out there. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Have a great day, everybody.